Hi, I'm Tom Hughes from HRB and we're in Auckland, New Zealand. I started with engines back when I was 16. My first job, luckily at an engine building shop when I was 16 as an apprentice, and that rolled on. I spent 6 years there doing an automotive machining apprenticeship. Learned all about mainly toy V8s, heaps of drift engines, heaps of motorbikes, heaps of everything. And then after that I came to Auckland and went to work at Rocket Lab, which is an aerospace company. And I was their propulsion leading hand, so I was in charge of all the engine room and all the engine assembly. I knew I always wanted to start my own shop, and then I just had the right opportunity, right person, right workshop, and here we are. When we first started, we based most of our business around the 1UZ, but that was only because in New Zealand it's a big platform and everybody uses it in the superstock racing class. So to be successful or have a good customer base in New Zealand, you have to build a 1UZ. That led on to drifting. So our next class we went into was the drifting of D1 NZ over here, which were the Jinkin brothers first, and they had 2JZs, and that rolled on to doing a lot of 2JZs or JZs for the drifting series. That went on to RBs, and we teamed up with JT Performance with his 40 PSI car. We end up building basically every RB or JZ that comes through his shop. If he's tuning and building it, we're responsible for the engine. JD Fabrication, he's got an R34, which is about 1,000 kilowatt. We build all his engines as well. So aligning with the right shops has given us lots of work with the right people, and that's how we ended up on the RBs. So how we run our program is they come to us, say we want to build this package, it needs to be this much, it's going to be used for this platform. And we go, sweet, we build the complete engine long block, and then it goes off to them. They'll install, if it's JT, ECU, loom, turbo, intercooler, intake, and it's their responsibility. There's a lot of trust in that, because he has to trust that we're going to give him a good engine that's not going to fail or cause him problems, and we have to trust that he's going to do all the right tuning, all the right things to make sure that engine stays 100% healthy. Our bread and butter is definitely the 1UZ, followed up closely by the RB, then JZ. There's always going to be at least one or two of those in the shop anywhere, whether it's a cylinder head getting worked on, something getting assembled, a short block, or a cylinder head package. That's always going to be here. Being in New Zealand and being a small engine building shop, and there's only 3 of us here, or me and 3 others, you kind of just still need to take on the odd jobs here and there to kind of keep the boys busy. So behind you there's a 4G, there's a 3SGE, we have SRs come through, there might be the odd K series, but it's not something that we wave a flag around saying this is what we do. We do RBs, we do JZs, we do 1UZs, we do that really well, and we have a program that we love or really enjoy, and then the odds come in and you just kind of do them because you're a small shop. So when an engine comes in, we're set up to do a lot of machine work. We do outsource some. So engine is stripped, assessed. Cleaning is a massive part of engine building, which not a lot of people know. You have to have a really good cleaning facility. So acid tanks or hot tanks, cleaning, parts cleaners, all these kind of things add up. And then we have our head shop. So all our cylinder head development is done in-house, so we can cut our own seats, develop all our heads. We also, alongside the head shop, do all our own cylinder head porting. So that's a big part of our head program that we do with the RBs. We also have our surfacing machine, rod hones, valve refaces, general machinery, mills, lathes. Surface grinders are massive because all our Toyota V8s, 32 valves, there's 32 shims in there and they all have to be adjusted. So a surface grinder or a good surface grinder is really important. The main thing we outsource is boring, honing and align honing, just the big machinery you haven't quite got to yet. So our engine assembly program or engine building program is based a lot around what I learned in aerospace. So you can carry in those procedures without getting to the point of aerospace because it's quite high end, but you still bring in a lot to an engine. So everything gets double checked and signed off. We have build sheets for every process we do. So if you're clearancing something, checking tappets, checking the saw types of springs, everything is written down, everything is logged, and every single engine has a serial number. So we can go back through it, look at if it comes back for a rebuild or a refresh, or if we have a problem, we know exactly what's going on. We know who built it, who touched them that day, who double checked it, and we keep a pretty close eye on everything we do. So we're always super confident when someone goes out the door, it's 100%, and that's the main thing. We work really, really close with Calfords. It's epic because they're a New Zealand company. But they're also just the best in valve train. We have actually developed a few products with them. We're the first person to pull apart a GR Yaris in the world, and that's what they built and developed all their camshaft and valve trains on, was our GR Yaris. And as far as rotating assembly, we always suggest or try to use Nitto. So one, they've just got a massive track record, and that's following what you guys do in Australia and how successful it is. So Nitto crank, Nitto rods, obviously CP pistons. We also have our own custom pistons that we put in our 1UZs, so they are CP as well, but we go direct to CP and they're made to our spec. And then we have our own custom-made rod, which we get from a custom manufacturer to suit our 1UZ class. So we always use ARP fasteners, and we always replace rod bolts every time an engine comes apart. So that might seem crazy to some people, but a rod bolt is the most stressed thing in an engine basically. And if it's not replaced, you're just kind of rolling the dice about what's going to happen. So ARP fasteners, ACL bearings, we're big on ACL. So we can do spec engines or crate engines depending on what we're doing. We would always want to build it around what we know and what we specialize in. So if you say, I've got an RB, or I've got a drift car, or whatever it is, I've got a GDR and I want to make 1,000 horsepower, we'll be like, this is the package. We won't deviate and say, you know, I want to do this, I want to use these parts. But like, no, this is our program, this is what we know, this is what we trust. For example, this is an RB3026, so it's got Nitto parts in it, like I said. It's a stock crank engine, grout filled, it's got all Freya and Calford Cams parts in it, and it's good for around 1,000 horsepower all day in a GDR. So that's just a nice package that we know it well, and it's something we do. So we do a lot of drifting, a lot of roll racing in New Zealand, drag cars, circuit cars, rally, and we also do super stock racing, which is, if you haven't watched it, it's a dirt track. It's kind of like the equivalent in Australia would be sprint cars, but it's a lot slower. They're still very fast. That's what the 1UZ is going in. They make about 550 horsepower, but it's a full contact class, so they can hit each other at full pace. I used to race one, I did 2 seasons in them. I can confirm it hurts, the wall hurts. It's like motocross on 4 wheels, so you rub up against people, you're hitting the wall, you're pushing people out of the way if you don't like them. There's beefs, there's heaps of rivalries, there's politics. It's the most followed sport in New Zealand. It's motorsport, like by far. Team champs, there'll be 15,000 people there watching in one stadium 2 nights. It's wild. If you're coming to New Zealand, you want to watch a crazy motorsport, go to Team Champs. So this is our 1UZ Super Stock. We have a big program around this. So that starts from our starter engine right up to our full spec stage 3 engine. This one's our stage 3, so it is basically the only thing stock on it is the cast head, cast block and crank. So it's got pistons, rods, valves, valve springs, custom camshafts from Calfords. It's all dry sump. It's got our own mounting system on it for the car. You can see it's got bracing underneath, so it bolts directly to the chassis, being a full contact class. We have our own custom billet manifold for them. They run carburetor, which will confuse a few people just because of the class rules. Just like mechanical injection in a sprint car, they run like an old school ruling of carburetor. They run electronic ignition, so they run a Link or Haltech ECU, and just again, genuine Toyota parts. And we do a full turnkey drop-in package, and then we monitor them, service them. They come back yearly or every 2 years for rebuilds. So it's a pretty big sport, and we love being involved with it. Our entry-level engine will make about 470 flywheel horsepower. Top spec is around 530, 540 horsepower, and they rev to just over 9,000. They make peak horsepower about 8.5, and they use that last 500 RPM to kind of drive them into the corner. To develop one of these from scratch, you would struggle to gain or get to where we are in New Zealand with them, because these have been developed and used since the early 2000s in this class. So, and the reason that engine went into that class is because it's 4 litre restricted V8. So this is the perfect engine size for it. Our newest part of the business is the tool line, so HRB Tools. This has kind of come from a personal side of me of always working on engines since a very young age, since I was 16. And for the most part, the engines that you work on, you make the tools yourself, you keep the tools in-house, you make this epic tool and you'll use it on an engine and no one ever sees it. It never leaves the workshop. And all these people who want to build the engines, and they can't access the tools or do it themselves. So the tool line's based around that. It's designed to get the tools in front of people, that the hobbyist or the professional who wants to build engines themselves. The tool line's designed to start with, obviously the professional engine builder can use these tools every day. They're really high quality. But if you're a hobbyist or enthusiast and you want to build your own engine, you've always kind of aspired to build your own engine, this could be the kickstart to buy an engine build kit, go right, I've got all the tools, now I just need to learn how to do it. Our latest investment with the business was the CNC machine. So it's a 4-axis CNC machine. So we, as well as manufacturing all the tools, we also designed and made them all in-house. So all the design work, all the development was done in-house. We prototyped all the tools on the machine, and now we also manufacture the tools on the machine. So we have a growing range of tools from RB, JZ, SR, K series, B series, 4G, and we're continuously growing that on and on and on, and also extending the range that we already have for those engines. So if you bought an RB engine build kit, it would have our crank lockup series, which is super handy, cam gear lock, crank turn socket, in-place valve spring tool, ring sleeve compressor, and frost plug punch. So the tools you find in the kit, you can't buy. So we've developed and made these tools from scratch. The only thing you can buy in that kit is a ring sleeve, but we've made it in our own way, and the ring sleeve's adjustable. So if you're building an RB, if it's stock bore size 86 or you're going up to 87, it'll do the whole range. So all the crank lockup kits, in-place valve spring tools, the crank turn sockets, all that stuff doesn't exist. So we did this and made these tools, not to compete against someone else, but to put these tools in the market. When you build engines every day, you get to a point where you realize you can do it a lot easier, and the tools we've created are to do that. So if you're learning or if you're a professional, there's a tool that we've made that's gonna make this job a whole lot easier. And the tool line is just starting out, it's just growing, and the tools are gonna get more and more extensive and make these processes even easier. So we've got a full universal engine tool line. So valve trays for laying out your valve train, which is a massive time saver, and hydraulic balancer puller, so everyone's had an ATI dampener that was stuck on an engine that you couldn't get off. Ring file kits is like an extensive kit that has all the tools to do the process. Valve spring compressors, so a nice billet, well-made valve spring compressor for disassembling engines or assembly. We're going to be doing a full video range across all our tool lines, showing you how to use them in real-world situations, from our in-place valve spring tools, crank lockup kits, valve spring compressors, the whole range on motor video. We're going to team up and show you guys how to build engines.